Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the FatmanStephens podcast. I am Marcus Fatman Stevens, and we are here with a special guest with my good friend of 25 years this year. Actually, I think it's this month. April 1997 when we met.
Wow.
Oh God! Where's the time go?
Man, wow.
5 years. I'm 31, so this is basically my entire life anyway. So Mr. Mark Kendrick is here with us. What's going on, brother?
Nothing much, man. Just at that number.
Just threw you off, right?
Like I knew it was in the 20s. But 25 years, man. I'm 35. That means I only didn't know you for 10 years of my life. That's
it. Worse for me. It's only been 6 years of my life. Like, it's ridiculous, but thanks for coming on. So we are so the last few weeks on the podcast, we talked about WrestleMania preview episode, WrestleMania review. I promised people I wasn't going to talk about wrestling again this week, but I'm sorry. Promise is broken. We'll talk about games next week.
Okay.
The massive amount of games over here that I have not beaten. Not important. We're talking today about AEW, and you can tell by my AEW shirt that I'm wearing. Now, this is a quiz from Mark because I don't know if he knows or not. So let's see live. I did not tell him about this. Do you know the last time we talked about wrestling on a podcast where AEW was? Like, what was going on with them?
Well, I know the last time we talked about wrestling, Jamal was on. It was the three of us. We sort of like, this would be the first time I can remember us going into like a full AEW, like strictly for the most part,
right.
Podcast. But as far as touching on AEW, that was, I'm gonna say last year sometime. Like, it could be greater than that.
It was in December 2020.
Oh my God.
We talked. It was actually the same. I think it was around the same time period when Sting debuted for AEW, and then Omega won the title. That was the same event.
Oh my goodness.
So wow. I know. So we're talking about 16 months ago.
Man, I knew it was a minute ago. Like I knew it was some time ago, but I don't know why I thought it was like early last year. I knew it wasn't any time recently. But I thought it was like early 2021. 2020.
Yeah, December 2020. So we're talking about 16 months of development for a company now. And it's like that's why I thought when I wanted to have you on, I said we had to talk about that because I feel like so much has changed from AEW from December 2020 when they were in Daily's Place, still during the pandemic. I mean, we're still in it, but we're talking about like, you know, where it was still a lot of restrictions. They were still doing the weekly shows from one spot. Where now we're in 2022, where they're back to touring. They're coming to Philadelphia again in 2 weeks, so they're back to a touring schedule. So I thought we talk about all the signings from December 2020 until now, and it's a lot. So of course, I'm not gonna remember it in my brain. I'm going to be reading the list. So I'll do 2020 first. We'll talk about 2020. I'm sorry, we'll do 2021 first.
Okay,
and
good.
I'll do 2022 editions. So All Elite Wrestling, they welcomed in 2021 Christian Cage, who Christian Cage was, of course, he wrestled in WWE in the January 2021 in the Rumble, came into AEW 2 months later. So that was pretty shocking at the time. Malachi Black, we had Brian Pillman Jr. and Griff Garrison of the Varsity Blondes. They were already in AEW, like doing dark matches and things like that, but they officially signed last year. Fuego del Sol, same thing. Daniel Garcia, who's currently with Jericho, as part of the Jericho Appreciation Society. I think Garcia is going to be a power player for years to come in AEW. Jay Lethal, which was a good pickup for them. 2.0, Matt Lee and Jeff Parker, who of course are also with Jericho now. Andrade.
Yep.
Leo Rush. Leo Rush had a kind of like a quick stint with AEW, but he's gone now. But he was signed in 2021. Sean Dean, who does a lot of their backstage stuff, he actually has a match on Dynamite against MJF this Wednesday. Red Dragon. So we have Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. Lee Moriarty, he's one of the younger talents. I think another big star coming up in the future. All Ego Ethan Page, who debuted at Revolution last year during their ladder match. Lee Johnson is another guy. He was part of the Nightmare family. Well, he was part of the Nightmare family before Cody left. You have Hook, Taz's son, who's the biggest sensation in AEW right now. and Tony Nese. So that's for the men's side for 2021. And of course, I'm sorry, I didn't even talk about the Holy Trifecta, the Holy Trinity.
I was going to say, like,
I was saving them for last. I'm sorry, I forgot. But of course, the Holy Trifecta. Of course, CM Punk debuted in August, WrestleMania weekend that Friday, and then they did a double debut of Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson 2 weeks later. Literally, just like I saw a lot of memes at the time when they all debuted, where it was just like you had LeBron, Bosch, and Dwayne Wade for the Miami Heat, the big it's basically what they just did. But as far as women, they had Layla Hirsch was signed last year. Layla Hirsch was again doing dark matches, but officially got signed last year. Thunder Rosa, probably their biggest female signing last year, especially now because she's champion. Mercedes Martinez coming over from NXT. Red Velvet was again doing a lot of dark matches and things like that. Jamie Hayter and Ruby Soho. Those are all 2021 signings. So that's about 31 people. And of course, obviously the three at the top of the list. I mean, and it's not if that's anybody else. And Cole. That's based on CM Punk might be the biggest wrestling signing of the whole 2020s. Let's be honest. Just I think it's like Punk and then like Cody Rhodes are like right 1 and 2 in far of signings for AEW and WWE. It's just like, man, Punk came back from wrestling for what 6 years, 7 years. And that 7 years, and that reaction was just spot on. So, Mark, what do you think about some of these signings that AEW has been doing so far in 2021?
Yeah, so it's interesting you brought that up because I was going to say with CM Punk, it's interesting because it wasn't that he was away for 6 years. Like some people, okay, I haven't wrestled for 6 years, but they show up every once in a while.
Yeah,
this man literally was away for pretty much outside of that stint when they had that show. With SmackDown, not talking smack, but it was like it looked like they were in
on Fox. So they on Fox,
yeah. Outside
backstage. I'm sorry.
Yeah, back there you go. Outside of that, this man legitimately, you didn't hear anything about him in mainstream wrestling. I don't know in wrestling. Period. You will know that better than I would. So he was gone. So when he came back as like, okay, now I'm wrestling. No question, that's the biggest name recognition signing. To me, the best wrestler signing, as far as like pure wrestling or entertainment wrestling, is I still want to say Daniel Bryan.
I know. It's embedded in my mind because that's what I've been calling for a decade.
Yeah. That to me is the best in ring wrestling signing is Daniel Bryan. I'm gonna use the AEW name. But popularity-wise, CM Punk is definitely number one. And no question, Cody Rhodes, and I know we're not technically talking about WWE, but yeah, no question, like you said, he's in that top 2, top 3 because of what he did. He went away and made a name for himself, really, and then comes back as one of the biggest stars to, with AEW, obviously, and then goes on to WWE, or goes back to WWE. But as far as AEW, I would say CM Punk's the biggest name. Daniel Bryan's the best wrestler. And then to me, Adam Cole is like that, like great combination, like name recognition wise and in-ring ability. And that's no shot at CM Punk. I'm not saying he doesn't have any in-ring ability, but on the level of Bryan Danielson and Adam Cole, I think they're a notch above, honestly. Now, CM Punk obviously puts on matches just because, he knows how to tell a story within a match. I give him a lot of credit for that. So yeah, those three are, yes, they are no question the highlight signings of AEW in 2021. And to me, Thunder Rosa, the two surprising signings. And part of this was because I was out of the loop at NXT. So I didn't see Martinez coming over. Like, that was a shock to me. I was like, wait, what? I was like, what is going on? And then, honestly, I didn't know much about Thunder Rosa, to be honest, but just seeing her put on matches, I was like, that was a great signing. Like, her feud with DMD, excuse me.
Britt Baker.
Britt Baker. Like, that was a heck of a feud. And I don't think it's done yet, per se. But, she was definitely, she would be, in my opinion, a top 5 signing, male or female, for AEW. No question. But it definitely starts with with Punk because of popularity. Then to me, Daniel Bryanson, and then Adam Cole. And then I would put either Thunder Rosa 4 or I would put her 5. Like the only person I might think about slightly putting above her was Christian Cage. Because I no way whatsoever saw that happening. Not because I didn't think, he would want to be in AEW. I just didn't think he was going to wrestle again. So I just didn't see any reason, no matter what company he was going to. I didn't see him leaving because I thought he was kind of, entrenched in doing what he was doing sort of backstage. So I just didn't see him coming over to any company just because I didn't think he would be, be an in-ring performer. So that those would be sort of high ranking. And I will actually put Thunder Rosa above Christian Cage and say Christian Cage would be number 5. So those would definitely be my top 5 signs of AEW in 2021.
Yeah, definitely. I 100% agree with your top 3, 100%. I mean, CM Punk has come back to professional wrestling, even though, that's how you do a debut when it's like, even though, again, everybody knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
It was teased and like everybody talked about it. And Tony Khan basically said, he said, I remember the day of they interviewed him, they said, I'm not going to disappoint anybody tonight who's expecting somebody to come out. And I said, well, that's basic confirmation. It is. Yeah. It's the same way that Cody Rhodes came back to WWE in WrestleMania this past weekend. It's the same way they were like, it's not Cody, but, it is Cody. I'm all for stuff like that. But when CM Punk came out and that crowd reaction, and then you hear the fan was crying, I was just like, oh, what a moment. And and also the good thing I like about Punk, Bryan, and Cole right now, they haven't interacted with each other just yet. Yeah. And it's been about 6-7 months. And I hope they continue to do that, because when they do eventually clash, whichever one it's going to be, obviously I think the top of my list is Punk versus Bryan, because like the history they have. And Bryan's going to get a good match out of anybody. Like, he has not had a bad AEW match yet.
Nope.
His 2 matches with Page, his match with Moxley, his match with Miro from Full Gear, like all his matches with the young talents such as Lee Moriarty and Wheeler Yuta, he's just on a whole different atmosphere of professional wrestler right now. So I am all for Bryan Danielson in AEW beating people up like he does. Also, there's 2 other ones I forgot. Paul White, Mark Henry also signed. To more backstage roles, and I think that's backstage roles as much as important as in the ring roles, especially from veteran talents who have been with WWE, who have been on weekly television over and over, like for a long time, in periods of where WWE was thriving, like an Attitude Era, and also in periods where it wasn't thriving, like the PG era. So I think it's important that you have those backstage roles as well. But agree with you. Number 1, 100% is CM Punk. That is the biggest AEW signing, the biggest professional wrestling signing in the last decade, bar none. Can't tell me otherwise. Right underneath is Bryan Danielson, because again, Bryan Danielson was, and I only put him over Adam Cole because he was more established in WWE. No offense to Cole. Cole did a great job, but he never got an NXT, and I don't blame him at all, because they want to change, cut his hair or whatever. I'm not knocking that. I'm happy that you didn't do that, but I had to put Danielson ahead of you just because of that. That is a former WrestleMania main event winner coming to the AEW. That's sorry, he did. Even Punk didn't do that. So, and then of course number 3 is Adam Cole, because Cole literally was just on NXT television. Like, I think it was like August 21st. He was on Takeover 2 days before Punk debuted. And then 2 weeks later, he was on AEW pay-per-view. So for me, that's a big role. It's a big deal. Also, of course, his cohorts, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, because, they all been together. They've been together on NXT television since 2017. So all 3 of them coming in like a 2-month period was just amazing to me. Huge fan of Undisputed Era in NXT. Huge fan of them now as Undisputed Elite. I think that's their name right now, in AEW. So I think I'll put those at number 4 for me as far as a signing. And then, of course, the Thunder Rosa, because Rosa is, again, like you, I didn't know much about her outside of AEW. Once they started talking about her as NWA champion, I looked up some matches of hers, and she's legit. Got her good fan base. I just hope that this title reign, they actually carry her with the title reign. So she's got the first big title defense on Saturday against Nyla Rose. Of course, she's going to win that, so that should be her first good test.
Oh yeah.
All right, but now 2022 science, because we're in 2022. and it's only been 4 months, but AEW's already signed on 8 more people this year.
They like clockwork.
It ain't gonna stop.
No.
We got Brody King, who joined up with Malachi Black as a part of the House of Black. That was their tag team champions in like another company. I forget which one. I want to say like PWG. I could be wrong. But that was an expected signing because he needed a tag team partner. This is more of an indie signing, but Danhausen, who is more of a comedy figure, but a lot of people like him. I only know him based on the stuff I watch online, like Botchamania and stuff like that. Don't know him too much, but I feel like that's good for the hardcore fan who may want to see like something funny here and there. Keith Lee coming in February. I'm a huge fan of Keith Lee. I think WWE did him dirty. I'm sorry. I'm not bitter about it. I just feel like if you push this man up against Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar in a 2-month period and you guys don't do nothing with them, I think that's your fault. I just don't think the people in terms knew how to handle a big black man, a big articulate black man. I don't know if they knew what to do with them, So I think that they were just kind of scared and just said, "Oh, change his name, change his gimmick."
Exactly.
And it failed. So Keith Lee in AEW fits with the other monsters in AEW. Lance Archer, Brian Cage, these guys who are athletic and big. So he fits right in with those guys. I'm sorry, Powerhouse Hobbs.
I was about to say, no, yeah.
All those guys. Isaiah Swerve Scott made his that's his slave name. Shane Strickland. I apologize.
Sorry, I see that coming. That's all.
Swerve Strickland is an AEW. He came out for Revolution was announced. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of his swag, the way he carries himself. I love him in NXT. Another guy I think they did dirty because again, 2021 was a good year for him. Like he was North American champion NXT. He came up with Hit Row, and they were making Hit Row like this big thing. They were like the hottest signing. I said, okay, they want to do something. They want to do something with them. Yeah. And they fired B-Fab a week later, and then they fired the rest of them 3 weeks later. So it's like, y'all hyped them up.
Yeah.
I was pretty pissed about that, but he's in AEW now, and I feel like he's going to have some good matches. I can't wait for that tag match coming up on Wednesday with him and Lee versus Starks and Hobbs. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Gonna be off the chain. Yeah.
That's for the best black talent you have in your company right now, too. So it's like, I'm all for it. Next up, we have Buddy Matthews, who came to align with the House of Black. Makes sense from their WWE days, fighting on the main roster. Buddy Matthews is legit in the ring. Like he single-handedly carried 205 Live when nobody was watching it. And I really think the only reason that the show survived so long was because of Buddy Matthews.
Wow.
Another not so unexpected one because of course Jeff Hardy. Of course, all the rumors came out that WWE just fired him because of the incident that happened at the house show, and then
I'm leaving.
Yeah, and then he came out. Another great moment. Another great talent, established talent for younger talent to kind of learn from.
Yeah.
William Regal. I'm a huge fan of Regal. Like how WWE let this guy go?
Awesome.
It was a petty thing, and because again they were trying to get rid of everything from Black and Gold NXT, everything Triple H kind of built up.
Yeah,
they basically just wanted to wipe out, and it's very clear because most of the people that were instrumental in making NXT work are gone now.
Yep,
like Shawn Michaels and things like that. But William Regal in AEW is going to be just great for everybody involved, and it's already great for Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley because now we're getting like this crazy, like I don't know if they're heel or if they're like tweener. It doesn't really matter. I like them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like these guys just beating up people, violence. Like the thought of Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley becoming tag champions and wreaking havoc in AEW is just salivating to me.
Great. That would be man.
It only took them, a whole year, a whole half a month, but a quarter of a year. They finally found that female talent in Toni Storm. Toni Storm walked out on WWE because she said she was burnt out. She's probably just tired of jobbing to Charlotte all the time, which I'm honestly not surprised. She made a debut a few weeks ago. So very excited for her. And we're only in April, There are still a lot of big free agents, in my opinion, out there. You still have Athena, formerly known as Ember Moon, is still out there. You got Mia Yim. You got Cesaro, who's out there. For me, the biggest free agent out there as a fan of his is Johnny Gargano. Like, he's the complete total package of a babyface character. He's what Daniel Bryan was before, this Daniel Bryan. So it's like, sign my man to a contract. I know he's he just had a baby in February, so he's being a father. I get it, but man. He would fit right in with the current crop of AEW talents.
Without a question.
And it also would be good for him to get him because of Ring of Honor. Now that they own Ring of Honor. Yep. So, and I forgot another signing, Samoa Joe, of course, coming to AEW. So now in AEW, you got Samoa Joe, you have CM Punk and Bryan Danielson. Mm-hmm. Are you kidding me? This is the Ring of Honor like 2002 all over again.
Yep.
Oh, jeez. So, what do you think about 2020 signings? 2022 signings so far?
It's so far, the most obvious one was Keith Lee. Everyone knew that was going to happen. And that made complete sense. Like, there's no way. And you're right. And it was so messed up how that happened. Like, literally, you have him get to the peak of NXT. Then you have him on his first pay-per-view beat Randy Orton.
Forgot about that.
I don't care if it's in a Thunderdome or not. You still have to beat Randy. Like you said, the whole Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns situation. They just didn't know what they were doing with Keith Lee once he got to that stardom. That superstardom. But to me, yeah, he was, out of all of the signings of 2022, to me, and I could be partially biased, I'm not gonna lie. To me, he was the best signing. And I agree with Swerve. What's his real name now?
Swerve Strickland.
There you go, Swerve Strickland. But like you said, like, because again, they propped up the group, like, okay, they about to get on the main roster, they're doing their thing, and then just like, oh no, we're gonna fire them all. So it's like, you could see, like, just the matches he can have on AEW, it's just going to be potentially just off the charts. And Keith Lee's already doing his thing in AEW. Like the ladder match at Revolution, and the spots that he had in that match, it was just like, this is why this dude got that popular. Like, to be that athletic, to be that big, that athletic, like you said, that articulate, all rolled into one. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not like we didn't know that was going to happen, but still, like, it's like, this is how you let him shine in a way that he can shine, because he has all of that to do that. So to me, that was the best signing. The Toni Storm thing, I wasn't surprised about that. I didn't know what she was doing. Like, because they had the whole other listings of firings in NXT anyway. I mean, in WWE anyway. Excuse me. So I wasn't shocked that she was a free agent. I just didn't realize that she. Well, I guess I'm not surprised that she signed with AEW, because, like you said, with the Ring of Honor, them buying Ring of Honor, I didn't know kind of where she was going to go. I know she was going to go to Impact, Ring of Honor, somewhere else, or AEW. So I kind of was a little, not completely surprised by it, but a little bit, slightly surprised by that. I guess how quick it happened once she became a free agent. But yeah, Keith Lee is, to me, yeah, that was that was the top signing of 2022 to this point. Like you said, I mean, we're still not even out yet, and there's still plenty of names that you mentioned that are out there. And I didn't know Ember Moon was a free agent, so they need to sign her now. So, like,
she's been fired since like October, November, dude. Like, wow. It's been a while. When they were going to debut, when Toni Storm debuted, I thought it was going to be her. Mm-hmm. But I also now that they're doing the storyline with Jade Cargill, who she's like her first person she's going to lose to, I think Athena will make sense to be the person. Like, I thought they were going to build up to it, because she was like, I want competition. Yeah. I thought that they were going to build her up. Number 30, her 30th victory was going to be against Athena, but they're doing it going a different way. But all I'm saying is, AEW, I need to sign more women.
Yeah. Oh no question.
I'm I'm okay with signing all these great male talent, but like
Yeah.
Mia Yim and Athena, like two of the hottest female wrestlers right now, are sitting around doing nothing. Can you just give the money, Tony? Just to stop
that. No, I 100% agree with that part of out of all these signings, and I'll say this about 2021 real quick. I know we're on 2022, but I just want to say this. The Jay Lethal signing was a great signing in and of itself. But again, I guess I hadn't really heard much about. I know he was in other wrestling promotions throughout this whole time. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just didn't really hear sort of what was going on. And then when he got announced, I forget if it was on the Impact or if it was on. No, it was announced on Revolution, right? Or was it on?
We were together when we saw it.
Yeah,
it was Full Gear last year.
Yeah, Full Gear. That's what it was. Yeah, Full Gear. Again, wasn't too surprised by it. And again, a great sign. That dude, talking about putting on matches. Like, to me, Jay Lethal is probably, I think, one of the most underrated wrestlers, period. Because if you look at the matches he's put on, whether he was in TNA before it became Impact, or just what he's done around the world, period, excuse me. And even just the matches he's done, has had in AEW now. It's like, dude can put on matches. But yeah, going back to 20, I just wanted to say that part of 2021. I forgot to mention Lethal. But yeah, 2022, I agree that there has to be more. There's too much female talent out there that, like, all right, Tony Khan, like you said, it's great you're signing all these male talents and you're signing the right, you're getting some, obviously some really, really, really good ones and some great ones. Don't get us wrong. But you're missing on some female talent. That's just like, listen, they're ready.
Those are two.
Exactly.
Holy crap!
Exactly. You could have listened, man. You want to talk about putting on matches? That's the thing. And I'll say this. I know you texted me early last week, sort of what we're going to cover. But I wanted to say this part as well. That's the thing to me which makes AEW AEW. And I'm gonna be honest, like, do I watch it weekly all the time? No, because as you know, basketball is my favorite sport, and this is basketball.
The clashes, like, nah.
So and when football's on, but so I don't watch every all the time every week, but I watch enough to know what's going on and definitely the pay-per-views. And just in general, just kind of enough. Like I said, you have more insight than I have because you have you follow more of the the wrestling insider stuff and things of that nature. But the best thing about AEW is, yes, you gotta have storylines in wrestling. We all know that. But what makes them is their matches and their focus of their matches. Like the idea that like they're putting on classic matches on weekly TV. It's like on a fairly consistent basis. Even if it's not every week, it's consistent enough. And then obviously their pay-per-views just, go a whole nother level. So it's like that's just really that's what makes to me AEW. Because when all these signings first happened, I was like, oh crap, don't do what WCW did. You start out really hot, you sign all these people, they're still where they need to be, they're still got that appeal. You can, package them right and all this type of stuff, and they can package themselves right. And it was great for about a year and a half when they did the, bringing in all the, the talent from WWE, and then they just kind of let it get out of control. That was my first initial thought when AEW kept signing all these people, and I was like, oh no. But right away, the way they did it, I was like, okay, this is going to be different. They're going to sign all these people, but the way they're going to put it together is trusting that this should still work. And you're going to see these matches and all these things that we wanted to see, but it done not just in a period, but over a sustained time, really good.
Agreed. Now, I'm gonna lie, I share that sentiment of people getting signed too much, where it's like it oversaturates the wrestlers, because it feels like Ruby Soho hasn't been on like Dynamite or Rampage in a very long time. I think since she lost against Jade Cargill in that final. She's been on like AEW Dark and like Dark Elevation, but no offense to AEW, I just don't watch those. And it's not because I'm not a fan. It's just because there's so much damn wrestling on every day. I literally watch wrestling every day. Mondays Raw, Tuesdays NXT, Wednesdays AEW. I watch Impact weekly now because I went to the shows, and then and Friday SmackDown. I'm legit watching wrestling every day.
Yep. Yep. Exactly.
Consume so much wrestling. It's not close to that. It's just like, man, it's so. And I still want to watch more companies. It's like. I was nervous until we bought Ring of Honor, and I watched the Ring of Honor show after work last week, WrestleMania weekend, and that show was fantastic. And I've been missing Brian Cage, and I think they haven't been using him well in AEW, and I really thought he was going to be one of the first to jump from AEW to WWE because he has a big size, and I feel like Vince would like, I see this guy, and I'm like, all right, they would use him well. And then I think back to Keith Lee, but doesn't matter because Brian Cage is now with a group with Tully Blanchard in Ring of Honor. So there you go. I feel like most people who aren't utilized in AEW will go to Ring of Honor whenever they do weekly shows again. I don't know if it's going to be like a weekly tape show or weekly live show somewhere on some streaming service or something like that, or on TBS or something. I don't know how that's going to work just yet, but I'm okay with him signing a lot of talent because now he basically has two companies.
I was about to say,
and he's already had his fingerprints in New Ring of Honor because Wheeler Yuta is champion over there. They have Mercedes Martinez as interim women's champion. Who's the world champion? Jonathan Gresham's going to sign with AEW any day now, I'm sure. So they already have their FTR as their tag team champions. Again, for anybody who has not seen FTR versus Briscoes.
Yeah, and I still have to watch that myself. Match
of the year. That's on the edge of. I knew who won, and I was still on the edge of my seat the whole time. But yeah, I'm okay with him signing more time because now he's got to fill up two companies now. So
yeah.
All right, so now talking about AEW. AEW's been in existence since 2019 in terms of being on television, October 2019. So what are some of your favorite moments so far that AEW has produced in its 3 years, I guess?
Yeah, no, it's first and foremost, for me, out of all the matches I've seen, the match of the year, the best match that I've seen them put on, and I'm gonna categorize them into it: one-on-one match or multi-person match. Either triple threat, fatal four-way, etc. That triple threat tag team match at Revolution was absolutely the greatest, and I text you that the night that the next day when I watched it, the greatest triple threat match, a tag team match that I've ever seen. Period. Any company.
It was so great.
Any company of any time that I've ever watched wrestling, that was the greatest triple threat tag team match I've ever seen. So that would be the best multi-tag match that I've seen over this 2-year period, 3 period, excuse me, with AEW. The best one-on-one match. I mean, it's gonna be interesting because you can either go with Omega and Bryan Danielson on Dynamite, which I know it ended in a draw technically, or a no contest, but I don't care. It's just that good, or that great, excuse me. Or again, Bryan Danielson versus Hangman Page, which again was on Dynamite, which again ended in a no contest. But both of those matches, normally, and me, you have watched enough wrestling together to know my reactions with matches a lot of times, especially when it comes to like when matches end in no contest. Typically, I'm kind of, reserved whatever with a match. Or if it's really exciting, I'll get involved with it. And if it's no contest, I'm like really, like what are we doing here? Like what's going on? I really sat here and watched no contest. Like come on, but both of those matches were so great. I didn't care. I was like, I did not care that they were no. That's how great they were. Definitely, I still the one match that I have yet to see, but I know was up there for match of the year at the time that they had it was Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa, the first one, that bloody match.
Yeah.
And I still haven't seen it yet, but I know the hype behind it, and any highlights that I've seen, I can see why why I got that hype. as a whole, I think the company's they've done well because having basically their version of their main show being Dynamite, and then their secondary show, and that's not secondary as a bad thing, being Rampage. I think for the most part they've done well in giving people pushes and not just the people we know. Like I feel like they, for the most part, they given people enough chances. Have they had some misses with talent that they could push more? Yeah, no question. But I think as a whole, and the Regal thing, and we watched Revolution when it happened. And Regal coming out was like, I mean, no, we watched Full Gear. My fault. I text you when it happened, and I was like, wait, because I all heard that the crowd was just getting loud, and I'm like, what's going on? And then you turn the camera, you see Regal walking down the aisle. I'm like, yeah. Like what? That was a complete like what? But it makes sense with the whole, them trying to wipe everything that was associated with Triple H, which that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
But yeah, AEW, I think for the most part, if I was to rate them, I do this a lot with movies. So like if I was to rate it overall, I would say I would give AEW, excuse me, I would say B plus. Because like anything else, you never want to feel like you completely, don't need to keep growing and get better. So, yeah, I would say I would say B plus, because the matches overall they put on have been, for the most part, top notch. Storylines, again, I'll look at the company. To me, AEW is not, and this could be wrong. Maybe they'll be this later. I think they're less of a storyline company and more of like, let's put on really good wrestling matches consistently. So yeah, could the storylines be better as a whole? Yeah. But I don't think that's like their focus per se. You got to have it because it's sports entertainment, but their matches overall have been so on another level. It reminds me of, and then I'll say this part too. Well, I'll definitely let you say how you feel about it as well. I remember one of our good friends who's part of that 25 years, in Jamal, and even with him, what about 23 years? Because you knew him before I did. He used to be a big TNA fan, and this is I'm talking AJ Styles, Samoa Joe era, all those guys, the originals, if you would say. And then some guys coming over from WWE. It took me a minute to get into it, and I was like, yeah. So eventually I started watching it, and their matches were what pulled me in for a time period. Like for a good 4 years, their match quality to me was just like, these dudes are tearing it down. And that to me is what AEW is doing right now, like overall. Like AEW is really match focused, and we're going to throw in storylines, but it's not the biggest thing that we're looking at. We're doing just enough to, line in with the sports entertainment part of it. But matches are what was the key, and that's what they've been doing really well. So I would say, and like we said, the other thing is like, yeah, they've had some major signings, but like we said, they definitely need to sign some more female talent. So yeah, I would say overall, a B plus right now.
Yep. Man, AEW has been just a breath of fresh air for professional wrestling in general. And when NXT and AEW were on the same nights and Wednesdays for like the year, some change it was on. Oh my God, it was wrestling nirvana. Yeah. It was so amazing because I would just go back and forth like, all right, I'm gonna watch NXT first this week. Because of course I work Wednesdays, so I would watch NXT first this week and AEW, and I was up to like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning most of the time, just happy that I did it. As far as like, I think my favorite match in AEW right now is it's tough, but I know it's this one. It's the tag team match between the Young Bucks and Omega and Page from Revolution 2020. This was their last pay-per-view before the pandemic. It happened on February 29th, 2020. And I only know that because February 29th is the leap day. That match was phenomenal. Like I watched it at the front desk at work, and it was so good. I had to find online the next day to watch it again because I was dumbfounded at the quality. Young Bucks, I think, is the greatest, but probably top 3 tag teams of all time right now. Like between them, the Briscoes and FTR, maybe the Usos. You can put them all in there somewhere. But damn, that match was amazing. The half hour, like that was like, I think Revolution was the first pay-per-view I tried to watch like fully for AEW because I'm just at the time I just was not spending $50 for a wrestling pay-per-view. I will now because I trust you guys a lot more. At the time, like I'm so sorry. The main event was like Moxley versus Jericho that night. I'm like, I don't want to spend $50 for that. No, I'm not gonna watch it. Be able to watch it live. But now I trust. I'll take time. Now AEW, I will say that I will now take a Saturday off. You have a Saturday pay per view. Yeah. That's how much I've grown. Yeah.
They trust for you.
Right. I think that's my favorite match right now. But that match was just hell of a tag team match. And I also liked I like the FTR versus the Young Bucks from not just this past week, which was really good as well. But the pay-per-view match was pretty good. The 6-man tag between who was it? It was the Young Bucks and Cole versus Jurassic Express and Christian from Full Gear.
Yeah.
Really, really good.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
Of course, Bryan Danielson, anytime he wrestles, I just feel like he tops himself each time. Exactly. Of course, there's still dream matches for Bryan Danielson. Like I'm salivating at the thought of seeing Bryan Danielson versus Samoa Joe in 2022. I'm just thinking about it because I feel like with the Owen Hart tournament coming up, and it's like if you want to have a hell of Final Four double or nothing, like I'm like legit tears in my eyes thinking about it, like because I will not be able to handle it. As far as favorite moments, anytime one of a wrestler that I really like in the company that gets their first title win or something that they really deserve, I really like it. Like Sammy Guevara won the TNT title last year. I think Sammy Guevara is the first guy I kind of like put myself in or like kind of like attach myself to because not only was he part of the first match on AEW Dynamite for the first match ever against Cody Rhodes. Like he got to hook up with Jericho and Swagger or Hager and people I knew. So I was like, all right, so if Jericho kind of gives him the okay, he must be pretty good. And I like him. I think Guevara is kind of in the Cody Rhodes position. I think since Cody Rhodes left, they have to have a new face that we don't like, that people kind of boo. And I think he's in that role right now, and I think that we need to turn him heel because I think he would be a much better heel. Jungle Boy winning the tag titles this past January was really emotional for me because obviously Luke Perry's his father who passed away, and I connected myself with him, and I like Jungle Boy. I think Jungle Boy is probably my favorite of the four pillars.
Yeah, the 4 pillars.
Not probably he is. Jungle Boy is my favorite. I feel like Jungle Boy, will be world champion in the next 5 years for AEW. And I just think the way that they present him, I think he's going to be the first guy you're like, oh, okay, the first AEW original. I mean, Hangman Page is technically an original as well, but I feel like if you look at the champions, Jericho, Moxley, Omega, Page, I feel like Jungle Boy will fit that mold as a champion one day. I think the whole 4 pillars will become world champion one day. MJF, Darby Allin, Guevara included, but I think Jungle Boy will be the first one to do it. No, I lied. He won't be the first one, but that's the one I'm gonna cry over when he does. I'll tell you that.
I was gonna say I think he's gonna be up there, but I wouldn't say I was gonna say I don't think he's gonna be the first one either.
It's gonna be MJF.
Exactly.
A lot of people were saying that MJF will be the one to end what's his name's reign, and I'm just like, Hangman's Page, but I'm like, I don't know who should be the one to end his reign. Yeah. Is it going to be a heel? Because of course now they're teasing Punk might get a shot at Page, and it will make sense for me if Page is the one to beat Bryan Danielson, Adam Cole, MCM Punk, because that's the holy trifecta, right? Of talent. It makes sense that the top champion who was with AEW from the start to be the one that beating the 3 people coming in. That's just my opinion. And then losing to MJF would probably be the icing on the cake for that. Other favorite moments, anytime somebody debuts and it actually lives up to the hype, it's always great. I can't get over that CM Punk debut. I watch it monthly. Like I watch it once a month. I have to. Just because I get that feeling, I get the goosebumps again over again, and because I put myself in that crowd, in that literally the biggest pop I've ever heard of, like since Attitude Era days.
I agree.
Goosebumps now just thinking about it, just like.
That's ridiculous.
Also the back-to-back debuts from Cole and Danielson. Like we knew, like I watched going to the pay-per-view. It's like you're getting one. Like somebody's debuting. I didn't think back-to-back. That was such a ballsy move also to the ballsy great pay-per-view, and it's just like that has to be those 2 weeks back to back, like that period of time. Probably my favorite moment being an AEW fan so far because it's just like anything is possible. You know,
Kevin Garnett.
That's what it got for me. But speaking of AEW, you can't speak about AEW without talking about Cody Rhodes.
Yes.
And the whole Cody Rhodes departure thing was not on my bingo list for 2022. I did not think that we were going to be talking about Cody Rhodes going to WWE at all. Like Rhodes, Omega, Young Bucks, Page, like those are like the four staples of AEW, right?
Oh yeah.
But then the reports coming out, and he did the promos of him saying, "I'm not even employed here," and I'm like, "Hold your horses, buddy. What do you mean you're not employed by AEW?"
Yeah.
I was so confused when he did that promo. I said, "You're on a handshake deal, a VP." And then of course it broke that I never forget. I woke up that morning, and then the first thing that came on my phone was Cody Rhodes is out of WWE or AEW, and I said, "Ha ha ha, funny." And on the website, and it's like, "Oh snap, he's really going."
Yep.
So of course Cody leaving and then going over to WWE. And the only reason I want to talk about this because this is the first big AEW to WWE transition.
Yep.
And the fact is, if he did nothing with his presentation, they didn't change his name. They didn't make him wear Stardust colors or anything like that. He went from AEW television when he lost to Guevara in that ladder match, which was fantastic. Going right to WrestleMania as the same gimmick, the same name, the same theme song, the same damn Cody elevator, like the whole pyro and everything, and it was perfect WrestleMania moment.
Yes.
And I only, like I said, don't want to talk about this because I feel like I hope this gives. Well, Cody Rhodes obviously they obviously only did it so they can kind of stick it to AEW. Like let's be real. That's a real reason.
We know.
But I hope this gives hope to other people who are maybe unhappy with AEW because I feel like yes, I am pro AEW. Yes, I'm pro WWE. I'm pro professional wrestling. But I hope for somebody who's like holding off on AEW who may be unhappy isn't too scared to go over after the Rose treatment. But you also have to realize that they only did that because he was a big name and they're paying him allegedly paying him $3 million a year.
Dang.
So I feel like they're going to present him any way they want. So I don't know, like because again, MJF talks about in his promo saying there's going to be a big bidding war for him. Like next year when his contract's up, and that's real rap. Like that's anybody whose contract's up in the next few years, it's going to be bidding war for these talents. So I think this is the first one of many you may see. I don't think if I'm going to say the next person to go over from AEW to WWE, it would be Jericho because he's the journeyman of professional wrestling.
Yep.
So I'm just saying, I'm not saying that you'll see Young Bucks or Page. I think those are just Kenny Omega. Those are not even possible in my mind.
Yes.
But Jericho, MJF, Brian Cage, Lance Archer again, people like maybe Jungle Boy. Only because they want to stick it to AEW. It's not because they see talent in them. It's that they want to stick it to them.
Yeah.
But Cody Rhodes and WWE makes me happy because I'm a Cody Rhodes fan first and foremost. But it also makes me happy that AEW has such a big effect that they literally did nothing with Cody and his putting him in. The only thing they did they made him change was he doesn't do the Tiger Driver anymore. Did he? Because in the match with Seth Rollins, he gave him the Tiger Power Bomb. Usually he was the driver, but don't use power drivers in WWE.
Exactly.
Stupid. Whatever. Not important. But yeah, Cody going to WWE, it makes AEW look bigger because of it. Yeah. That's all. That's my whole point.
Yeah. No. I and I'll say this. I know, like you say, you don't necessarily want to get into the whole, everything with it. But I will say this. What it also helps with AEW or any other wrestler is that Cody, yeah, he was on the mat. Like he had some recognition coming into AEW. From his original stint in WWE, and a lot of it, he did some things, but he couldn't get past the glass ceiling, quote unquote. And his biggest claim to fame, even more so at the time, was Dusty Rhodes' son, Dusty Rhodes' baby boy. He goes to AEW and explodes as far as just being this huge talent. So coming back to WWE in that stage, to me, actually helps AEW in a lot of ways, because it's like, no, you didn't get big because you was in WWE. You got big in another company, and now, like you said, they're doing it to stick it to AEW, signing them, but still, but still, the name recognition came more outside of WWE. So now going back, it actually makes the other company look, good in a sense, because that's really where, he got his biggest surge of popularity. Even at the end, when the fans were booing him anytime he would.
I was so ready for heel AEW Cody. I was so ready, because I always said Cody was going to be the guy to beat Page for the title. Yeah. He was going to be like, oh no, the championship rule, I put in effect BS, and he was going to beat him for the championship, and people were going to be pissed. My casting was this: it was Page, it was Cody, it was Jungle Boy, then it was MJF. That's how I had it to the next 4 world champions. But Cody messed my whole plans up.
And I'll say this too, real quick, as well. Excuse me. As much as I don't want to see Young Bucks, or Jungle Boy, or Jungle Express, period, go over to WWE, I'm not gonna lie, a match with the Usos and the Young Bucks, or the Young Bucks and New Day,
top of the list.
Like, you can tell the Usos in the New Day, like, they're not putting on those matches like they used to, because they don't have to. Because like we talked about before, you're starting to maybe see little inklings of maybe WWE is finally realizing, hey, we should maybe utilize our tag team division, but it's still not where it should be, and they have the people to do it. So if they did get like the Young Bucks, I think it would catapult that back to where it was when they were, having those great Uso and New Day matches, and just putting on, tearing down the show. Tearing down the arena. But yes, I don't actually want to, because AEW doesn't, their tag division is so great, don't lose anybody. But I'm just saying, if that did happen, that would be
more people. We need more tag teams in AEW. I'm all for it.
So yeah.
It's time for a tag team tournament, AEW. That's what I want to see. They should have did like instead of, no offense to Owen Hart, I'm kind of glad we're doing a tournament. But for the next pay-per-view, don't need to do a tag tournament. I'm cool with the tag battle royals; those are always cool. But like, I want a 16-team tag team tournament.
I'm surprised they haven't done it. I'm surprised they haven't done it yet, honestly.
Who's the best tag team in AEW? You guys have like 100 tag teams. Like,
I was gonna say, like, sheesh,
too many. I can do a whole show with tag team wrestling. You can do the whole tournament in one, well, not a whole tournament, but like a whole bracket in one episode. Like, just give me more. Just give me more tag team wrestling.
And it's not.
Speaking of WWE, the tag team division is never going to get on any ground, because again, what do? You're feuding. Let's be a tag team. Let's challenge the champions of an established team. Let's beat them and be tag champions for a week. And they go back and forth. It will never happen.
Yeah. No, it's the what they used to do with that is nowhere where it was. Like I said, when you had the rivalries, the tag team rivalries with, like I said, the Usos and New Day, and I'm talking about more modern days. Obviously, we can go back far through all the great tag team rivalries and stuff like that. But just of the recent, like, and then it's just like, oh yeah, we're gonna forget doing that. it's like, what? Like, what is going on? So I like that AEW is doing that, and this isn't me bashing WWE, because I'm with you. Whether I watch wrestling consistently or in spurts, either way, I like competition. So the more wrestling competition there is, the more you help the next person, even unintentionally, to hopefully realize, okay, I gotta step my game up. Mm-hmm. And then they step their game up, then the next company step their game up, and it just keeps, and it actually makes wrestling better as a whole. So Yeah, AEW is doing what they need to do with their tag team division because it's true. They really could do they could do a pay per view pretty much. Maybe not the whole pay per view,
The
but
whole pay-per-view. They do a whole
just a tag teams. Just literally, and it wouldn't be. And I actually wouldn't be mad at that because their tag teams are that good that I think every single match, or the majority of, or 98% of the matches, would be great.
All you gotta do is build a whole pay-per-view around FTR, Jurassic Express, Red Dragon, and the Young Bucks.
Exactly.
Build up, like have a whole tournament, have 4 other teams against them, and have those
Yep.
4 teams in the semis and in the finals. And then
Exactly.
like that's a whole pay-per-view. Give me
Exactly.
$20. I'll pay $20 for it. $20. No.
Oh, man.
But yeah, as we're getting ready to wind down here, I'm gonna get to our last question, and we're talking about the future of AEW. So AEW's again been in existence since 2019, October 2019, the first Dynamite episode. They've already done over 10 pay-per-views. Yeah, 10 pay-per-views, and you see the talent they already have. What do you see in the future for AEW as far as it could be like more wrestlers coming in, future champions, anything in that nature?
Well, the first thing is there's no question there's going to be more people coming in. Hands down, I'd be shocked if they stop. I mean, again, I don't want them to overdo it. So hopefully, even with buying Ring of Honor, you still only have so much space, even between 2 companies. So don't overdo it, but do it just enough. So yeah, I do think there's going to be more signings, no question. I hope to keep the pay-per-view format the way it is because I like that you're not getting so many pay-per-views,
quarterly pay-per-views.
Yeah, and it's just like, man, I don't want to see that this month. Like, come on. So the fact that they was it 4 pay-per-views a year? Well,
yeah, it's March. It's March, May, September, and November. Keep that, please.
Exactly. Do not change that at all. It's like when you have a good TV show. Keep the same slot, keep the same day, unless there's some legitimate reason that it has to move.
Exactly.
Other than that, leave it as it is. So hopefully they keep it. That would be a future that I hope stays. That they do with that. And then as far as future champions, I definitely think MJF is their, I don't know if he's gonna be their next champion, but I would say he's within the next 2 to 3 next up to be that champion, obviously as a heel. I don't see any issue with him ending Paige's reign, honestly. That would, it goes back to the whole full look. It could work. Like I can see that being a good storyline that could work. So that's what I see as like one of the next up champions. I kind of don't want to see CM Punk win the title, like win the world title, honestly. Like not yet. Like I kind of want to see him kind of have another feud that's like a non-title feud and just kind of like, I don't know who that would be yet, to be honest.
Got plenty of people like he has
exactly.
Samoa Joe. I think that might be Samoa Joe.
Yeah. So you have on your plate what you could do. So that to me would be part of the future too. MJF is going to be either next up or maybe or after that, but it's going to be relatively soon. I think he's going to be world champion. So in saying that, I also think he is going to re-sign back with AEW. I'll be kind of surprised if he leaves. Unless
I know. I'm really skeptical because he's a businessman. He's like 25 years old. If Vince says, "Hey, we'll give you $4 million a year," the same thing in WWE. But obviously PG.
I mean, look, circumstances could definitely change that. And like you said, yeah, he's a businessman. And that's not a persona. You can tell. Like, I mean, listen, this dude really carried his heel persona outside of the ring. That tells you right there.
Yeah.
that like he's old school, true to the character, if you would say, and really trying to make it a business per se. So with all that, I still think he's going to be the next heel champion, if not maybe after that. But it's not going to be long. And then the other future of AEW is, like I said, they're going to keep signing some people, but again, hopefully they don't overdo it. Keep the pay-per-views as they are. And then just in general, I just continue to see great matches. I think you have so many feuds you can do that work. in so many ways you can go with it in the women's division and in the male division. Obviously, I think there's more in the male division right now because they signed more, but you still have a good amount either way. And then, like I said, I don't hopefully CM Punk doesn't win a championship yet. I think at some point he's going to, and they're going to obviously have him win it. But I think it's just at least have one more major feud, maybe two, of that has nothing to do with the title, and then okay, you get your title shot, or you win a title after that feud.
I really think Punk and Page is going to be the main event for Double or Nothing in May.
Mm-hmm.
I really that's a big weekend for them because they're in Las Vegas the whole weekend, I think, or wherever they're in Las Vegas. Yeah, they're in Las Vegas the whole weekend. They got a 10,000 seat arena for that pay-per-view. Wow. And you want to have your biggest star. I feel like Page is the guy right now, and CM Punk's probably one of their biggest names. So after Page beats Cole this weekend, the Texas Death Match, which I can't wait for, it's so crazy they're going to have a live Rampage on Good Friday. Thanks, y'all. I won't be able to see it live. The one Friday I'm off is live at 7 because the NBA is playing that night.
Oh yeah. That's how I said. Playoff.
But yeah, like I said, I agree with you. I think MJF will be next champion, not only because it makes sense, like in the storylines and everything, but also as a leverage tool to say, hey, here's a world championship. You can stay,
Exactly, yeah.
I'm going to put it past Tony kind of do that to make him kind of sweeten the pot.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, of course, and MJF is one of the only. He's the only 4 pillar to not be world champion yet, or a champion yet.
Yeah.
Guevara and Darby have been TNT champion. Jungle Boy is tag champion right now. So he's the only one without a championship. He has, the feuds he's obviously been in contention for it. He's main event pay-per-views. He's feuded with Moxley, Punk, with Jericho, and he has wins over all of them.
Yep.
But he doesn't have a championship to say anything. So I feel like MJF will be the first guy to win the world title. Obviously, again, Jungle Boy should be next up after that. Sammy Guevara should turn heel. So that him and Ty Conte just need to be a heel, like just in your face, better than you couple. Like just be cocky, be the Spanish guy, like when I first saw him, and that would carry him the whole way.
Yep.
Use Santana and Ortiz more.
Yes, agree.
I feel like they are in the same. We haven't seen Santana and Ortiz versus FTR. They might have wrestled. I'm not sure. I haven't seen a pay-per-view, and I think like if you give them a pay-per-view title match, they will go above and beyond. As far as women's division, sign Athena, sign me. Yes. Give Jade Cargill more competition in that field because she is squashing everybody. She wrestles. I love Jade Cargill. I think she's she's still green in the ring. She's learning here and there. And under Bryan Danielson, she's going to become one of the best in the world eventually. Because now Jade Cargill is one of those ones where she's one that they're going to want. They want her.
Oh yeah, there's no question about that. Like,
so if any female talent goes from AEW to WWE, it'll be Jade Cargill. She's not doing it for the money. She's rich. Her husband is, former. Is he still playing for the Reds? Don't know, but
I'll have to look. I'm not sure.
But he's a professional baseball player. Like, they got money. She's got sponsorship deals. Like, she's not hurting. She doesn't have to.
No.
So I mean, and honestly, that make me fantasy book Bianca Belair versus Jade Cargill. WrestleMania 40 main event. So I'm just saying that's the dream match. The dream match for me, right?
Yes.
Just throw each other around. That's
that would be sign me up for that. I'm serious. Like and literally like I know, like you said, she's still learning. Like you said, if it was to happen at WrestleMania 40, she would definitely be, where she would need to be at, wrestling wise, I believe. But just that match alone, like that would be a really good match. Like that is that would be a dream match. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but yeah,
it's a big horse match. I mean, female wrestlers. So, but yeah, like I said, like we said, keep it 4 pay-per-views a year. I will accept a 5th one. If you do it the right way, that's he's not going to do it the right way.
I feel like you put a 5th one in there, then I'm like, well,
we can do 12 more, right?
That's all like that. Just keep it at 4. Don't even toy with I don't trust Tony Khan.
I do think if they do some type of streaming deal, you'll probably get more special events. So that may be a thing. Maybe they won't be like pay-per-views. Maybe they'll do like Impact. Impact does it where which I kind of like their model, where they have Impact Plus. So you subscribe to that, you'll get like they do like monthly events on Impact Plus Live, and they still do like Bound for Glory is still pay-per-view. You pay. They got one coming up, Rebellion, on next Saturday. That's paid for. Is it next Saturday? What's today? Yeah, it's next Saturday. It's next Saturday. I'm off. I want to watch it. They have that. They have like other ones that have. It's like four. It's like between 4 to 6 a year they pay for. And I'm okay with that. So I would like AEW to do something like that, where it's like maybe you're doing like a live tour, like a live event nearby. You record that for your streaming service. I'm okay with that. And also it might be, I don't know. You talk about where they have to move a date. Well, September 2022 is coming up, and either it's going to be the same day or it's going to be different days. Because again, WWE has a pay-per-view lined up for Labor Day weekend, which has been historically the last 3 years the weekend for All In or All Out. So somebody's going to be Saturday, somebody's going to be Sunday, and WWE is now doing all their big 4 pay-per-view, big 5 pay-per-views, because Money in the Bank is part of it, on Saturdays. Rumble was on a Saturday. Not going to be Saturday and Sunday. Money in the Bank in July is on Saturday. SummerSlam last year was on Saturday. Survivor Series they don't care about. Obviously, it's the big 4 plus one now. Survivor Series is an X. They're like, hey, can you remember about me? They're like, nah, Money in the Bank though is better.
Money in the Bank took that spot. Money in the Bank definitely.
So, and I think SummerSlam. I think Money in the Bank and SummerSlam are now the same month this year. I think it's July 2nd. And then 4 weeks later, SummerSlam is July this year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
First time, only because they're doing a pay-per-view again in September. Now, that's the thing. The rumors also it's going to be in London, or it's going to be overseas.
Yeah,
so that means potentially this pay-per-view could be on at 3:00 because it's p.m. there, and then 4 hours later, AEW could be on the same night.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Are you kidding me?
Folks, I'm gonna tell you he's not joking when he says that he would freak out if that happened.
It's a 9-hour wrestling day.
Yeah, it is.
I'm crying now. Are you kidding me? That's a whole day of wrestling.
It is. Yeah. You're literally going from 3 until midnight, basically. Yeah.
What would I do? Like I would just. Oh my god.
That's equivalent of me watching Christmas Day basketball games, where it's literally start at 12:00 and the last basketball game is at 10 p.m. So some of it afternoon.
Just salivating thinking about that because I know that it's so petty to put on the best card possible for this show. And I'm all for the pay this if it's gonna make y'all great, because I ain't gonna lie, I really enjoyed WrestleMania this year. Both nights were really good. The back to back between Bianca and Becky, and then Cody and Rollins back to back was great. All the fun they had on Sunday, the main event sucked.
Oh, yeah.
All the fun they had, we knew it was going to suck. Damn finishers, spamming matches. I hate it. How many times you got to do? Y'all fought to each other like 8 times. Y'all do the same thing each time?
Exactly. Exactly.
Whatever. Besides that, everything was fun. I think AJ and Edge was good. I think Sami Zayn and Knoxville was fantastic entertainment match.
Yes.
McAfee and Theory was good for what it was. Yeah. McAfee is a great in the ring. So I feel like whatever. WrestleMania was great. I feel like that if WWE and AEW had a pay-per-view on the same day would make WWE put on like the biggest pay-per-view pop.
They would have to. And I'll say this too as well. Just quickly about WrestleMania. In reference to what we're talking about, AEW. I agree. I knew Saturday was going to be good wrestling wise. Once I found out who was going to be on it, I was like, okay. I expected that to be what it was, and it was, for the most part. It was a really good night, and then the Owens Austin thing made it funny at the end. And Sunday, I was like, I didn't know about it, and then it started out kind of slow. And then once that Knoxville and Sami Zayn match hit, it just seemed to me like just entertainment wise. So I was like, Saturday was the wrestling as a whole, and Sunday was the good entertainment. And then you saw the greatest stunner it was the greatest stunner sell in history and for Austin Theory, and then the greatest botch.
I think Vince sold it very well. I thought Vince sold it very well for a 78-year-old man taking a stunner or 77, however old he is.
Oh, God, that was. I mean,
Vince, what are you doing?
Austin reaction of just laughing like, oh man, that was me and my brother and sister-in-law were just rolling. Oh my gosh, that was we went back and watched that part. Oh gosh, that was funny. So I had to, what you said WrestleMania, I had to bring that part up because that was just that was still one of the classics. But I'll say this just about AEW as well. If they did do something like that where you kept your main buy pay-per-views as 4, but then like you said, they do a like some type of screaming or something like that, okay. My hope is that 4 pay-per-view, like 4 pay-per-view buy that they do a year are, within a calendar year, whatever that calendar year is, or 2 years that is, excuse me. Or as I call it, NBA season, 2021 to 2022. It creates a good anticipation. Like you don't feel like it's oversaturated. You don't feel like it's like, oh man, okay, there's a pay-per-view this month and then there's another one next month. Yay! It's like it just, it creates more hype in a good way. So yeah, hopefully the main buy pay-per-views are just 4. And then, like you said, they want to do some type of screaming or something like that. You add a little something with that. But your main buy pay-per-views, just keep them 4.
Yeah, I feel like there's definitely a demand, or not. There's definitely a place for more special events, not pay-per-views, but special events.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't have title matches, but like I'm talking about like a full women's pay-per-view, a full women's event, a full tag team event, like a whole tournament in one night type of thing. And make it live. I feel like that you can do stuff like that if they got on HBO Max, because Warner and all that's together. I think there was definitely I don't want to say a need, but there's definitely a source for that if they want to, and the fans will watch it, and you can do it in the towns you don't go to. Like I feel like they do it because AEW doesn't do live touring just yet, which I don't know how to make money, but.
Honestly, yes, I didn't know that.
Tony kind of got it, but I just don't want them to go out of business because
understandable.
This is invigorated professional wrestling. Because again, now I'm watching Impact weekly. I'm invested in Impact. Like I'm so invested in this World Championship feud between Moose and Josh Alexander. Like I'm it's just wrestling entirely just really good in the 2020s, and I hope it continues. And AEW is at the kind of the center of it all now. Sign me again in Athena Tony Khan. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yes.
Please just sign them.
Let's do it.
This year, I would like to see the remaining dream matches this year. I would like to see Punk versus Samoa Joe for 60 minutes. I would like to see Bryan Danielson versus CM Punk. Y'all can go as long as y'all want.
I'm about to say
I want to see Adam Cole and Punk because I don't think they wrestled since Cole has been like
Cole.
I don't think maybe they wrestled like maybe when like Cole was just coming up.
No, I don't think they ever. By the time Cole became,
Punk was already in WWE were gone.
Yeah, they never.
So,
see
that for all out weekend, I would really much appreciate that.
Yeah.
Give me Red Dragon versus FTR. That's tag team match right there. I'm just all the great tag team matches are remaining. Actually, just put them with the Bucks. Put them in a fatal 4-way with a Pride and Powerful. Put them all together. Fatal 4-way elimination. Just give them 40 minutes. Have at it. Have fun.
Let them go. I mean, I would never have thought I would want to see so many. I'll be okay with seeing so many triple threat tag team matches or fatal 4-way tag team matches. Because typically they don't work out well.
Yep, I'm all for it.
But the way AEW has done them and the tag teams that they have to be able to do it, or the way they're utilizing these tag teams, the way, because they really are letting them just, I mean, the stuff that they be doing in these matches, I'm like, yeah. This is just, whew. So, yeah, go ahead. Have fun.
And my final dream tag team match, I just thought about it, is Red Dragon versus Moxley and Danielson, because you want to talk about violence, you want to talk about somebody. Just give me that's number one on my list right now.
Yeah.
No Joe and Punk. Just professional. AEW gave me that. I'm like a fiend, right? I'm just like every time I was looking at AEW, I'm like, what's coming on this week?
I gotta get my fits.
Tony Khan, you better bring them all for Philadelphia in 2 weeks. If I don't see Samoa Joe, if I don't see Keith Lee, if I don't see Strickland, you're gonna get a letter. You got 4 hours. I want them all.
Wait, when they supposed to be coming to Philly? Is this week? Oh, you said 27. Okay, 27.
My tickets, I want to see them. And if I don't see them, you will get a letter from me. I will find you, Mr. Khan. I'm biased because last time we came to Philadelphia, the first match was the Young Bucks, Cole, and Omega versus Bryan Danielson, Christian Cage, and Jurassic Express. So I'm a little favorite. What's the word? Darn, I forgot the word. I'm a little spoiled. Damn it, I forgot the word. Spoiled is the word. After that, we got CM Punk coming out for a promo. Are you kidding me? That's the whole trifecta in the first half hour. And then Paige came back to win the main event. Instead of his match with Omega, we win the World Championship. So sorry if I'm a little spoiled.
Exactly. Listen, you put it out what they say. Don't do something if you can't keep it going or whatever that.
Don't start what you can't finish.
There you go. Yeah.
Give me all of them in Philadelphia. I'm done. All right. My DoorDash, so that means it's time to close out. Mark, tell people where they can find you on the internet and what you do.
Oh yeah, so just check me out on my YouTube channel, True Greatness. So I do various things. I talk about movies, sports, inspirational stuff. Just try to keep it going. So that's the main topics, and then I have a Twitter as well, but definitely mainly go on my YouTube, and then you'll see all my other videos linked together. But yeah, they definitely hover around, especially with sports and NBA. But definitely, like I said, movies. That's my biggest stuff: movies, sports, and inspirational topics.
Okay. His stuff will be tagged into the YouTube video and also on all the other socials. Of course, follow me. I'm on Twitter right now. It's FatmanPodcast90. Talk to me about AEW. Talk to me about WWE. Talk to me about video games. I promise video game discussion will come back next week. I got so much to talk about. I will talk about it next week. I promise. Also, we're on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Deezer, Overcast, all those. Just type in the FatmanStephens podcast to find your boy. Thank you so much, Mark, for joining us, talking about professional wrestling. Maybe next time we'll get on here, we'll talk about movies or something like that, because it's been a while since we had. I think I've had you on a few times now. 2 times talk about wrestling. 1 time we had a general conversation, so maybe next time we'll talk about movies. Did you see the Batman?
Yeah, I did, and I do have an opinion of that. So I'll just
save that for another episode. Thank you so much for watching or listening, whatever you're doing. We'll see you again next week on the FatmanStephens podcast.
All right, yeah.
Peace.